This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, and welcome to show 182 of Aussie Mac Zone. We're brought to you again this week, luckily, by athwebhosting.com.au with affordable competitive plans, the 99.95% uptime, domain registration, free setup, using the cPanel industry standard from $5.95 per month when paid annually, 24/7 ticket support, and friendly help when needed. And I have used it a little bit lately, the friendly help, and it hasn't been too bad. So it got me out of trouble, kept all the customers happy, so that's the important thing. And Glenn, how are you?
Oh, I'm glad to hear about the friendly help. Geez, you don't get that very often, do you?
No, you don't.
No,
you don't. But
I'll have to have a look at this ATH web host.
They're very, very good company. I can recommend them.
Work excellent. And what have you been up to, Michael?
Oh, I've just been travelling for the week, but
oh yes,
yeah. If I'd have got back together, we could have done the show last night, but I wasn't quite there. Just didn't quite get back in time to do it properly. So,
oh, all right, a little week away.
Yes, a lovely week away. So,
yeah,
and yourself, mate, you good?
Yeah, good. Yeah, just getting through the rain. Been a bit of rain around here on the Goldie last couple of days. That's good.
I wouldn't know. I was in Wodonga on the weekend. It was 32 degrees Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, that's weather. That's summer temperature.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Or hot.
We're still probably warm. I've got a temperature on my fan here. Yeah, it's 29. It's still warm.
Oh yeah, 26 here in after we just had some showers here in Penrith. So.
Beautiful Sydney.
Yes, beautiful Sydney.
So I'll be down there this in 2 weeks.
Yeah, can't wait.
1 week. The end of the month, I'll be there.
Yep.
I'll come knocking on your door. Ask for money.
You'll be asking for money, or I'll be asking for rent.
Money, and then I'll pay you some rent. Yeah, so down for the Australian Podcast Awards, the Castaway Awards. So that'll be good. Yeah,
it is going to be a good night.
We didn't make the judged categories, so we're too obviously no good. But the popular vote, the Aussie Tech Heads and the Aussie Tech Security, I don't know. From what I can see, not going too bad for that category. So we'll see.
Good. It's excellent. So now our first story is a former Google and Apple exec says most great employees are either rock stars or superstars, and you can't manage them the same way. Business Insider says promotions are awesome, even beyond compensation. They generally come with more power and prestige. And if you're really lucky, a congratulations cake. But here's the thing. Not everyone wants a promotion. Some people are perfectly content doing what they do best, whether that's writing, coding, selling products, and giving them a new and different role wouldn't be especially helpful to either the person or the organisation.
No, well, I think that's right in any area, isn't it? You need specialised focus sometimes.
Yeah.
Why would you put someone that's got a passion and a flair for promotions and say, well, go and do some accounting,
go and do some coding, even
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We're going to put you in charge of coding, even though you're an accountant. Doesn't work, does it?
No, but look, that'd be a totally extreme example. But yeah, you can specialise in, say, you might specialise in social media marketing, and you say, okay, you've had enough of there. We want you to, spread your wings a bit and go into newspaper marketing. You might not like that. It might not be totally different. It's,
totally different thing.
Yeah, people specialise in areas, and I think, and that's sometimes also what you need to do as a business. Like I think you can focus on too many areas, especially in you can focus, say PC repair. Well, then you don't want to start focusing on whatever else is out there. You might say, oh yeah, I can do Macs a bit, or I can do change batteries in iPhones. I think you just got to hone in on one thing.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm a Mac person, and I do a little bit of PC work for my Mac customers. But why spend an hour and a half working away on a challenge that a PC guy can fix in 20 minutes? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And like because you are dedicated yourself into that, say, the Mac role. Well, then you might spend 5 hours trying to figure out the Windows problem. You do figure it out, but when are you going to use that again?
Yeah,
you're specialised in the Mac role.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
Cool.
so this Kim Scott, his name is. He says that great employers can be divided into two categories: rock stars and superstars. Rock stars are all about stability, hence the rock in their name. So they're the ones who wouldn't especially benefit from a promotion. Superstars are all about upward growth, promotions, and maybe exactly what they're looking for. So, yeah, it's just...
Yeah, so who was this? Who was saying this? A former Google and Apple exec.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's the way he sees it, I guess.
Yeah, he's a CEO coach. So,
Right.
Yeah, and published a book. So...
Well, you wouldn't want to be a rock star with aspirations then, would you?
Doesn't work, does it?
Not with this guy as the CEO.
No, but a rock star with aspirations as a superstar.
Oh, wouldn't go around saying that either. You'd have a music.
That's why bands don't last very long sometimes, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, look, that's probably a good analogy, I guess. For an up-and-coming CEO.
So, an up-and-coming one, yeah.
He did that himself. Yeah.
So what about, here we go, some good Apple news. So Apple inventions again point to work on health tracking AirPods. So Apple Insider reports a trio of Apple patent applications published last week detail the inner workings of a wireless earbud system packed with sensors for taking biometric readings, suggesting the company is developing an advanced set of AirPods. Apple's patents are titled Earbuds with Biometric Sensing, a common language describing the wireless earbud. And it's got, there's one with, basically heart rate sensing and one with temperature sensing. And so, yeah, it's, there are lots of things you can do.
Why not build into it like if you've got an ear infection or something? It's already in your ear. You might as well just have a bit of a look. But yeah, I suppose... that's probably not a bad idea. But so the AirPods, they're AirPods, aren't they? Yeah. So has there been much, I don't know, dislike about them just being just so losable, or there's not been much talk about that?
No, there's been a lot of talk in that they're not losable because you're not catching the strap on anything. Like the bit of wire isn't catching anything or pulling on anything. They tend to stay in your ears all the time, like a lot of the time.
Right.
We think they're falling out, but generally when we've got them in, we've caught them on like the door handle when you walk past or something like that, and that's what pulls them out of your ear.
All the time.
Yeah.
And what about, say, if one falls out, does it give the other one a bit of a ding?
It changes totally. You can hear if one falls out straight away.
Well, I guess so. Yeah.
Because it stops becoming you get the mono straight away to start with. So it'll also tell you where it thinks it lost it, because that's where it broke the Bluetooth connection, things like that. So.
Oh, okay. Now that's a good idea, isn't it? So when it broke the Bluetooth connection, it's sort of it's self-aware to know where it is.
Roughly where it is, yeah. And you can there is an app on the phone which we've talked about previously where it actually just puts this ear-piercing sound coming out of the earpiece. So if it's in, as people have done, dropped it in the snow, you can actually dig through and find out where it is.
Right. So the AirPods, so the biometric settings, they're trying to complement the watch or be to operate as a standalone?
It's just adding to the health benefit. So it may not be the watch, because you don't need the watch and the AirPods, because the AirPods are actually talking to your phone, not the watch generally.
Right.
They can be talking to your watch, but yes. It's increasing the health benefits.
I was just looking at this the story here that's in the show notes, and so are they called AirPods or earbuds? So they're called AirPods, but the patent is more earbuds.
It just depends what's happening at the time and how you want to call it. Yeah, and that's what the person in the stories call it. So.
Yeah, but they are totally. There's two different things anyway, aren't they? The AirPods are the wireless thing, and the earbuds are the things that you can stick right inside your ear cavity?
I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. Yeah.
Got the earbuds. You know those ones you can just sort of stick right in?
Yeah.
And,
Well, that's like the Sennheiser ones I'm using now, right in ear part. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. No, that's the go. That's more health readings, the better.
Yeah, well, and it's also things like people that say have epilepsy and they're having a seizure. They can actually, it can tell they're having a seizure, and that also it asks for, like, some of the software they've got there at the moment. As soon as you've had your seizure, they ask you to fill out some information on your phone to tell your health people, and that helps improve the monitoring of the person.
Yeah, right. Can you? Yeah, it'd be good. Like if you could just touch your earpod or AirPod, make a call or something. We go dong, like Star Trek.
Well, you can, because when you tap it, that activates Siri.
Yeah, right.
So
okay.
then you can say, "Listen, dear, please call my better half."
That was something about today. It was something about you can't say to Siri 108 or something, because apparently that's the emergency number for India. And so if you say 108 to Siri, it starts dialing emergency numbers.
I don't know, but you can ask Siri to dial emergency numbers, and it'll dial. In a lot of places, it will dial the emergency number for your country without actually. If you just say,
"I'll try
Siri, dial an ambulance,"
yeah,
it'll dial the emergency number for your country. It won't dial 911 or whatever. They're smart enough to know that. Yeah.
I think you can dial 911, can't you? And it'll just automatically route to 000.
Yeah, that's another one.
I'll try 108. I read it and I didn't try it. 108.
Calling emergency services in 5 seconds.
It does too.
Yeah, but it gives you 5 seconds to stop it.
Yeah, right. So obviously 108. Yeah, so obviously any country's emergency number probably works like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, something different.
And
yeah, things like we've just got to wait till we get improved batteries for our earbuds or AirPods.
So what's the go? What do you reckon's happened to that technology where you can charge things by movement? So I remember my grandfather had a watch that he never had to charge. It didn't have a battery because it just charged or whatever.
Yeah, I had a Seiko one like that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder what's happened to that technology. Like, why not? Is that?
I think it's because it takes up a lot of room.
Right.
And you still do have a battery in there. It just actually charges the battery a little bit. Yeah.
Right, but still, you think obviously it must be too big. Obviously looked at it, haven't they?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah. For some reason.
Yeah,
that'd be the go. They can then just put them in, and as you're walking along the street, they're trickle charged all the time.
That's right, and it does work. Those Seiko ones worked a treat. The only time if I took it off for 2 years, I'd have to go and get the battery changed. But other than that,
I'm pretty sure you're right. I think his was a Seiko, so it must have just been peculiar to that brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
But I heard a story today about and I've forgotten his name now, the guy that invented the lithium-ion battery.
Right.
So he's 94.
Oh, that's right. He is too.
And he's working with the University of Texas on a new battery for phones and devices, and
it was some good child or something, wasn't he? Good enough, John. Good enough.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 94, still actively working.
That's good, isn't it?
To make the world a better place. Pretty good, yeah.
He's put a few batteries in his pacemaker.
Yeah.
Still kicking.
Yeah. So good on him. Makes up for me who's doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I had a nice feature while I was travelling away last week. So just as I got into Melbourne, the iPad that I'd just started to read said, public transport transit maps downloaded. So it obviously just downloaded all the information for the transit for my phone, and when I looked at it, and my iPad while I was actually using it, just as I got into town and had to read something.
That's good.
Yeah, just
that was said public transport transit. Is that's for the Maps app?
That's for maps. And say because like Melbourne's got the biggest tram network in the world, 250 kilometres or something of trams. So
right.
little things like that, and how to get a bus and then a tram
So
and
they
a
must
train and
Yeah, because I know the first thing people are going to say and ask is what I'm going to say and ask. Is there must be a setting to turn that off, because you don't want that coming down 4G if you're at the end of your plan, do you? There must be, that mustn't be an auto. Well, it must be a default on then. If you've
well, I probably haven't turned any. I don't turn anything off generally, so
no, so that's right. So maybe, if people are worried about their data, maybe that's just another one you got to have a look at.
yeah. But I wouldn't have imagined it was too big.
No, probably not. Probably not. I used my 8 gig last month.
Yeah,
I had it set up so it would with Telstra, so it would auto give me an extra gig,
yeah.
and it was like 6 hours to go before the day went out. Before the month.
Yep,
over. Yeah, $10. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vodafone do that to me all the time.
Yeah,
Like 3 days to go, it says you've used 85% of your allowance, and then 1 day to go, you've used 90% of your allowance, and then like you say, 6 hours to go, we've just added a 1 gig for you, and it's like 6 hours before the end of the turnover.
Yeah, I don't know with I don't know what it's like with Vodafone, but Telstra's, you can stop it. It's an opt-in, opt-out thing.
Yeah, no, it's just on my contract. I just said because I don't care, really.
Yeah, well, I'd rather save $10, but it's me.
That's so you can come and visit me.
Well, that's right, $10. Oh, I was going to say that's a couple of beers, but geez, prices in Sydney.
That's a beer.
It's right. With maybe a bit of pokey change.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So, as Lifehacker Australia reports, the latest complaints about the national broadband network, including concerns about slow download speeds and frequent dropouts, show that not all is well with the NBN.
That's a shame.
A recent report by the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, also flags Australia's broadband speeds as among the worst in the OECD, beating only Mexico, Chile and Greece in terms of internet speed and penetration. And this... Yeah, go. Yeah?
Oh, no, I'm just thinking, that's just sad. It's not right. So this is problems with the fibre to the node, and then where it relies on the copper from the node to your router. What do you know? What sort of speeds? Does this thing say what sort of speeds people are complaining about? They're not saying, my internet's slow to 40 meg down and 10 meg up.
No, but they get I know. I've had a few lately where the internet is dropping out. And they'll lose it for half an hour or so.
Yeah.
Whereas, to be honest, I've had that happen once, and I've got fibre to my door, fibre to the premises. So.
Right. So each little place near you in the street, that's all just fibre straight to the premise.
Each unit in my block of units has got fibre.
Yeah, straight
or
to
townhouse. Straight to each townhouse.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. That's
it is great. Yeah. Whereas if it was at the end of the street, which is what they're talking about, fibre to the node.
Yeah.
And then we've just had one block of units built, which has probably got, say, 40 units in it, and across the road they're getting another one which has got 80 units in it.
Yeah.
That screw up your fibre to the node pretty quick because that's 120 more people than you had in just a nice little quiet suburban street. You've got 100 more homes, 120 more homes just in that one street.
Couldn't they just node up?
Well, you'd think so, but obviously they're not really doing that.
Yeah, look, I guess that's the sad thing about it, isn't it? Like, it all started off with fibre to the premise everywhere.
Yeah.
Look, I can understand, you want to save money, but I can understand that probably fibre to the node and then to the premise is probably not too bad for most people as long as it worked. But I can't see why, if it drops out, what are we saying? It's just the copper's getting waterlogged or something.
Well, it does all the time, doesn't it? That used to happen on my ADSL. You get one little quick shower and the thing would slow down to a crawl for two or 3 days. If you had more than one shower, you'd be in a crawl for the month. Now, you can't blame the telco, like the internet service provider, because it's not their piece of wire they're paying rent for the wire as well, but I'm just not getting what I'm paying for in terms of the service.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the only upside or the hope that you could have was wait till everyone's on the NBN, like whether it be to the premise, to the node, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be like maybe a cheaper exercise to get fibre from the node to your premise at a later date, maybe, if they decided that yes to the node.
But the answer to that is no, because they're only pulling basically one piece of fibre per street as opposed to 100 pieces of fibre per street. So they've got to go back and pull 99 more pieces of fibre for a start.
So, but the node or that one piece of fibre should be enough. Like that can handle like massive amounts of data. So it should be enough, shouldn't it? Really?
I wouldn't agree. I want as much. I want all of it. There you go. I want all of it, and that's not happening.
Apparently, like once you start chucking data down a fibre optic cable, like apparently, like whatever the specs are for that cable, you can double those specs by changing the colour of the light you send down. Then you can triple them by adding another colour of light, and then it's just like all this massive amount of data that you can squeeze into one thing.
Assuming that they invest in that.
Well, yeah, that's right. This is true.
So, and also, just as an aside to the story, companies offering fibre to the node, I won't say can't, I've written it here, can't offer static IP addresses, but the big problem is companies needing or wanting to control their data or website or email, they're not getting static IP addresses. And dynamic IP addresses, or what are those other ones? The dynamic...
Yeah, and static.
But the dynamic, the ones where it keeps sending your dynamic address to a site, so it looks like you got a static IP address.
Like a DNS updater or something.
Yeah, dynamic DNS thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know of any of those that work 100% of the time properly. So, I couldn't. So it's going to cost me more money. If I had fibre to the node, it'd cost me more money because then I'd have to outsource my website again, outsource my email, stop doing backups for my customers.
So why is the IP address changing? Why can't they offer static IPs?
It's something like in the old days what they did for some streets when they were running out of copper was basically they'd have one earth wire shared between everybody. And I think it's something to do with, all right, there's fibre to the node there. That's where that IP address runs out, and that box that's there, that's the box that's giving out the dynamic ones, and they're not prepared to spend time or money programming it to give out a static IP address to one person. So it's never possible.
I think the thing that you were thinking of is either dynamic DNS or it's not really managed DNS. Dynamic DNS, there's a one on the internet, you go to get it at noip.com.
Yeah.
And, I suppose there's probably little ways around it, like, because then you rely on a host name rather than an IP address. But you got to make sure then all your software and whatever you're using can take a host name over an IP address.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it changes while we're having our conversation here,
you
just don't know what's going to happen.
But surely there would be places around that could do that for you. Like, say they could dish out give you a static IP with them from their company, saying they give you whatever it is, and then that they're just pinging. Well, what would they be pinging?
That's right. That's why you got to use the dynamic DNS where you're sending out your IP address every 5 seconds, say, for example.
Yeah, well, I suppose, your computer's sending them your IP address every...
and then you've got to send all your web traffic and your email traffic and everything to the dynamic DNS one. Yeah,
because I think ADSL, that comes with they come with a static, don't they?
If some places give them to you and you've got to pay for them.
Yeah, Telstra used to charge you $10 as far as I'm...
Yeah.
But and even your mobile phone, I think I keep my same IP address. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it change really, even for my phone.
Yeah.
Would that be right?
I wouldn't think so because there's not that many.
But yeah, you wouldn't think so. I have to check that. But I know that PC. I'm on cable internet, and I know that's got it's the same IP. Never changed. It's good.
And that's what we expect. You know, if we're going to be this great country, and we're not, that one befuddles me, to be honest. So.
There'll be little workarounds, but we'll see what see what happens. That's a downside. That's a big downside.
It is. So, talking about us smart people, so Apple gives indie gamers a permanent home on the App Store. TechCrunch and others have reported breaking into the App Store can be difficult enough, but for small-time mobile game developers, it's even more of a challenge as they go up against billion-dollar global publishers that dominate the top charts, like Supercell or Blizzard or Niantic or EA, Electronic Arts, or Tencent, and others that can afford to invest millions in marketing and advertising, because you get all those stupid ads on TV about some of the games. But Apple is now hoping to level the playing field a bit by giving indie gamers a new and highly visible home on the App Store. Throughout the week, Apple has been highlighting indie gamer content in a dedicated section on the App Store's homepage, where it often features new releases, favourites, staff picks, and others. And this hub, dubbed Celebrating Indie Games, includes a number of new releases, but also some of the best all-time titles for iOS gaming. And then further down the page, indie gamers are further broken down into category spotlights, like lists of those with incredible sound design or unforgettable stories. Yeah, so initially this collection appeared to be just another promotion to give indie titles a push, but Apple often hosts featured collections like this on its App Store in order to showcase new releases. And the launch of the hub was preceded by other promotions for indie games, including discounts and other prominent placements for new indie releases. So Apple said it would be highlighting indie titles throughout the month from March 9 through to 20.
Right. So is this going to be a permanent thing or just a?
I think it's going to break out into a permanent thing. Yes, from what I can understand.
Right. Are you a big game app player?
No, I don't get time.
No, me neither.
You keep me slaving behind this thing.
I have played a couple lately, but they've been like escape the room games.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're good. I like them. When I got some downtime waiting at the dental surgery or something.
Yeah. You pretend your wife's there and you've got to escape the room. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, get me out of here. Yeah, so that's all right. I suppose it is hard for people to break into an ecosystem. I guess if you're a little, maybe 1 off or 2 off, 3 off developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess if your game's good enough, you're gonna smash it, aren't you?
So, what about Nick? He's the young one here. Are you a gamer, Nick?
No. Used to be, but not anymore.
Nah.
No.
No time.
Yeah, no time. Grew out of it.
This is how, I don't know, people who listen to this show every week, they're probably used to the quality of the production, but Michael's got a production crew down there, as you can hear, which is not afforded to Aussie tech heads or the Aussie tech security, but
No, but you're smarter than me, and I just I needed someone to help me with the talking, and like I could focus on the talking. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. All right.
So now it's our little discussion time. So a few people have been asking, is Apple still the company for education? Are education places still getting into bed with Apple, and what's going on there? So and with the prices of those, what's the Google one called? I've forgotten its name now. Yeah, the Chromebook. Sorry, I was thinking of a Pixel, but that's the phone and another bit of software. But the Chromebooks being very, very cheap. But do they do what a lot of people want to do? That's the challenge. So
like Chromebooks. Well, they probably don't do too much at all, do they? They're just Chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the latest version you can work offline with them, which you couldn't do in the first place. So that makes a difference, I suppose. But
the actual Chromebooks, they've stopped making them. but they're going to continue on the software.
Yeah.
I'm still going to develop the software onto the phones, the Pixel phones.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's going. But yeah, I guess, like, when I was growing up, Apples were at school. Against, there wasn't really any computers at school when I grew up, but there was a couple of Apples, and then as time went on, it was just Apple seemed to have had the market, didn't it? Cornered the market with their devices. It was, you go to any school, just Apples. Even I suppose now that the state school that my kids go to, they've got an Apple room. A few high schools, they're all Apples. But then I suppose, you start seeing some high schools and some places with Windows, and and I suppose, as you mentioned, the price of these things, it must play a big factor. Like, what's a Mac computer? What do you call them? An iMac? They're like, what, I don't know, 2,000-3,000, something like that.
Well, 1,500, $2,000 starting points. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking, most kids are going to have laptops, aren't they? Like a lot of if it's a bring your own device area,
yep.
There's going to be Chromebooks. There's going to be some Windows machines, I think, MacBooks, MacBook Pros, iPads.
In your experience, because I know you've been to a few schools doing what you do.
Yeah.
Do you find that, is it a BYOD environment, or is it, oh no, you've got to have a one or the other to fit into our environment while you're here?
Well, some schools, private schools that I go to, they've made a commitment. Every student, for example, gets a MacBook Air. Teachers got MacBook Pros. The staff are all on iMacs, even if they're using Windows software.
So as in, they've put on, what is it, Parallels or something?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. For that bit of software. And but going back, like, even to the 90s, when I looked after a private school and we had 400 pieces of Mac's equipment, the most I was there was half a day every day. And then when they had the same amount of PC gear, they had 1.5 full-time staff for the same amount. And that must still apply today if you think that IBM are installing something like 1,700 iMacs a week worldwide.
I think that the advantage, why there would be a disparity there, one of the main things is that, you open up a Mac or an iPad or a MacBook, when you open it up, this one here, A, is totally the same as B.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Interchangeable, whatever, exactly the same. And maybe if you were in the school environment and you were thinking, with the 1.5 days for someone to fix everything, well, maybe they should have made a decision to, okay, well, we'll go with the PCs, but we're going to use the same componentry and everything.
Yeah, but the challenge is people complained that the MacBook Pro hadn't changed for, it only had speed bumps for 3 years, for example. Whereas you couldn't get the same hardware for 3 years for that Windows machine. It'd have to have different sound drivers, or it'd have to have, different fan controllers, or, all of those little things, different graphics. We might have had the same graphic chips for 2 years. Windows 1 gets one every 3 months, so you can't have the same software in every machine. So when there is a challenge and you've got to re-image it, you can't. You've got to have a different image for that machine. And there's all the paperwork involved with that, of keeping track of every single machine.
I'll give someone a job, though, on the bright side.
And that's like another part of our story on this one is like software, deployment software. So keeping track of that. So JAMF, JAMF, is one of the companies that do it, mobile device management. But device management these days includes iPods, iPhones, Macs, Windows machines.
I was looking at a couple of videos because I think that after I spoke to you the other day, that JAMF, they made what was known as Casper. Stuff. And I quite enjoyed watching the couple of videos that I saw on that. It was, like the teacher can control the lesson on every child's iPad. as they go. The teacher's up the front with his iPad, and every time he changes the page, all the kids' iPads are changing. And then he can type on it, okay, look up. The kids look up. You know, what's come up. So, that sort of thing. That's great. That's fantastic. That's I love that sort of stuff. It's good.
Yeah, and even like that, the Jamf company, they have some software where they'll let you control 3 devices for free, right? So you're the dad and the 2 kids have got phones, or they might have iPads, for example. You can be controlling those 2 kids,
right?
What they can have, what software they can download, what sites they can go to, that sort of thing, what hours they work.
Because I think you make your own. Or you can say to the software, okay, I'll allow downloads of this, and this, and then it might not already be like directly downloaded to the devices, but the user of the device can go into app style store and see what's available and download what people want. Yeah, it's great. I loved it. I love it. It's good.
Excellent. Yeah, and it's good software. It is good software. There are, like, I spent, I don't know, 8 weeks going mental trying to, not with the current version of Apple Server, but the previous version, trying to get 20 iPads to work successfully, and I end up doing the Jamf software because it worked, and the Apple one didn't quite work. Just didn't quite work.
So what was the failing of that, do you think? Because is it just because like it would have worked, but was in a really roundabout sort of a way, or very complicated way?
Yeah, whereas the Jamf software, they'd sort of done that in the back.
Yeah.
For something that had to work, because this was for a trucking company that I was doing it, and the law is with this particular challenge was the truck drivers had to have the paperwork for the load.
Right.
They had to have it on the iPad, so it had to be downloaded onto the iPad before they left the yard, basically. Yeah. As opposed to going, oh, hang on a sec. Oh, no, I can't get it because it's in the cloud and I can't, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm out in the back of Bullamakenka and there's no signal.
Yeah.
Boom, fail. Yeah, so the law says you have to have the documentation with you. So at least that way, when it's there, once they receive the email with the documentation, they could click it and put it into iBooks so it's there, easy to see. But it was always there. So
yeah, it's amazing what can be done these days.
Yeah, it's important. So should you install a Mac server and a Windows server for a mixed network? Is that?
Yeah, what do you reckon with that? I saw that email. Yeah, you'd probably only really want one server, would you? Or you wouldn't install 2 servers just to comfort both platforms. Both servers should be able to handle either platform. If that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. And they do to a certain extent. Yeah, Apple has always been able to talk to the Windows machine and do the Windows sharing properly.
Yep.
We did have a little bit there in the middle for a couple of years or a year or so where we had trouble talking to an Exchange server earlier on.
Oh, right.
But we also had a period where iPads would talk to Exchange servers, but Windows phones wouldn't. You know, like. So.
Oh, it's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But and it depends on the size of the establishment. But yeah, Mac servers will talk to Windows machines, and I admit I'm very, very biased, but they're easy to maintain, I believe. So.
Yeah, well, I was shocked because I think I was talking to you a little while back about this, and I was surprised to learn that you can download the Mac server for $30 and put it on anything or any Mac.
But
and
basically, any Mac that's running, you can put the server app on it, and
bang.
That's it. Yeah.
So once you put the app on, you've got the machine as a, say, Mac OS X, but it's also running the server. So does it see it as 2 different machines? Is that
no, it's one machine.
So does the server app take over?
Well, you can open the server app and say these are all the users that can log on to the machine. The server app also takes over things like like port 80, for example, becomes a HTML port for the web server, for example. So there are a couple of things that you might have been running without without the server app, but as soon as you launch the server app, it controls the ports.
Right. Yeah, that's because I'm not sure what Windows Server costs, but I'm sure it's not $30, and I'm sure it needs its own dedicated piece of hardware.
Yeah, just whether it's a MacBook Air, a MacBook Pro, iMac, Mac Minis, even I've got some older Mac Minis.
Yeah,
working like a beauty. Yeah, to be honest,
they'd be pretty light. Is the software light? Like the server software light? So it would be, you could just dump it on an older machine because all it's doing is just going to serve files.
Depends how many people you got accessing it. So you only need the server software to start with if there's more than 10 people. That's the first challenge, if you're file sharing for more than 10 people. But if you've just got to understand like how many people are going to be accessing it and what you want to do with it. You might need a slight, a machine that might be 4 years old. Max out the RAM, put a 120 gig SSD in an old Mac Mini.
Yeah.
And then connect some USB drives to the some bigger storage devices. Works like a dream.
Yeah, right.
And it can be a web server, it can be an email server, it can be a diagnostic server, like Apple software diagnostic server, all running on the same machine. You can then, what are other things that, FTP servers, file sharing, DNS server. So with this Netgear router that I have a challenge with, where it would never do the DHCP addressing properly for Wi-Fi in the house.
Yeah.
I just turn it off and turn the DHCP server on the Mac.
Yeah, right.
Never fails. Never fails.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it?
As opposed to the Netgear challenge.
And so then bringing a Windows machine into that mix, that's relatively simple.
Yeah, why? Just...
How does it go? How do you reckon it goes with, Windows, with Windows 10 mainly? The usernames became a Microsoft login email address. How does, do you know about that?
But if you're logging into where?
So if you log into your Windows machine, your username, your Microsoft email address. So then how does that go with being an account name on the Mac server? Like, is it too long, or obviously
No, there's no problem with the length. You're connecting. You can.
So say
you can
like,
do that on the Mac,
So like you open up your Windows machine and you go, previously, or you still can sort of today, but previously you just go open up the machine, log in as John, and that was the account name that you were using.
Yeah.
Now the account name, you open the machine and log in as your Microsoft email accounts and password. So I just want to know if you thought that the email address...
No, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So say that email address was michael@ithelptoyou.com.au or Aussie Techheads,
and that's your
AussieMacZone.com.au. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
I can have that as my username on the machine.
Mm.
And then the Windows machine, you can automatically mount my SMB file server.
Mm. Yeah,
get all your data off without a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be impressed. I'm impressed that it's $30 and you can turn a Mac into a server and still use it as a Mac. If you have to, probably slow everything down, but it doesn't matter. You could still do it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Or an old Mac Mini, as you said, put an SSD into it. You could, so you, with security then, you would have, obviously the app gets updated every whenever.
Yep.
And is it still a good idea? Is that app, is that like in a jail to the other operating system? So if the OS X got infected somehow, virusly infected, would that spread?
Don't know what you're talking about, mate. I have no idea what you're talking about. What's a virus?
Yeah. That they're starting to infect Macs.
Malicious software is starting to infect Mac. Yeah, but if you're using a server,
Yeah.
you should be thinking about things like that a little bit more. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Because you're not sitting there clicking on stuff in the window like in your Safari all the time, for example, or Chrome. But
Yeah.
it's just an app, and it is sandboxed a bit. Remember, Apple do a lot of sandboxing for each of their individual apps. So if the Finder crashes,
Yep.
it generally saves everything,
Right.
and then you can go on. Or if you're there and something happens and your mouse fails, for example, you can still get out with the keyboard, for example. So,
Yeah.
little things like that add to the fun of it. Yeah.
I didn't think you didn't expect this Inquisition, did you?
Oh, that's all right. That's why we're quite happy to have a discussion with my mate Glenn, because I know how to keep me talking.
Oh, I have heaps of questions. Some questions.
Love them anytime you like. But I'm here to promote Aussie Tech Radio.
Yay.
AussieTechRadio.com. It's a great area to listen to, and just non-stop. And I reckon you need to spend a bit of time, mate, and get more from New Zealand.
Yeah.
We need that funny language.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, it's got to be tech shows. So, I might go back through and start listening and finding.
You do nothing else during the day, mate. So.
Play around.
And our Aussie Tech Security podcast.
Yep. It's going strong.
Excellent.
It's another episode I think we might try and record this week. We were to do it last week, but it didn't happen. That's a fortnightly.
Yep.
We're trying to do that this week, so that should keep your eyes open for that one.
And are you going to discuss the WikiLeaks situation for that?
I think we might have done a bit of that.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as should Apple say, for example, take the help from WikiLeaks? Like, we haven't sort of dived into, is that a good idea or a bad idea? I can't see why it would be a bad idea. I know Apple's and Google's and all whatever, they're all saying that no, our devices are secure, but then WikiLeaks is saying something else, aren't they?
Well, Apple did say that it's not 100% from the WikiLeaks information, but they are working on to try and close the others now that they're aware of some of them. So
yeah, that's good. I don't know. Is WikiLeaks trying to improve their PR a bit, do you think?
I think they might be. Yeah,
they might be.
By saying that we're going to tell the companies, but apparently only if they agree to some disclosures or something. I haven't quite worked out.
Well,
haven't heard enough about that bit. Yeah.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because, you and me, we don't. You don't want to be thought of as being listened to by the government or anyone. With your TV off or whatever, you think it's off and it's recording. You don't want to be thinking that that's going on. But then on the other hand, you want that to happen to the baddies.
Yeah.
You want their GPS location and everything.
If that bloke's robbing a bank, I want to know.
Yeah, I think that they've got to strike a balance between that and, better, maybe more, don't rely on that sort of information and more on maybe traditional intelligence gathering or something to get to the baddies.
But that is traditional intelligence gathering these days, isn't it? Like, we all carry around tracking devices with us, with our phone. We've had our credit cards tracking us for years, and that's not even the government keeping track of us.
No, that's right. Yeah, there's a story. You probably weren't one. You might. No, I don't know. Someone was telling me. It might have been you. Might have been. I don't know where it was. But there was a story about. There was a young girl and a family living in a house or whatever, and then she come to the house was these pamphlets. It was all about pregnancy and about babies and clothes and all this. It was all from like Target or somewhere, somewhere like this. And anyway, so the dad goes in and says, "Well, Jill, or whatever, what's all this? What's all this coming here for you for?" And she goes, "Well, I've got something to tell you."
Yeah, that had something to do with tracking what she was buying at Target.
Right. And so, is that a breach of privacy? Because that was, say, like something that was brought to the fore before the person was, say, ready to say.
Yeah.
that was pretty much a breach of her privacy.
It
so where
was.
to stop and what's acceptable and whatever? Well,
But the government can't keep up with that challenge, can it?
no, I don't know what the answer would be. Maybe don't buy nothing and
Yeah. Like fibre, just going back, fibre to the node would have been perfect 10 years ago.
yes,
Because
yeah,
there wouldn't have been that many people. But now there's,
yeah, it's,
maybe every house that's got 2 people and it's got 2 phones with people watching Stan on them or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's right. There's not enough IP addresses, as we know.
so, yes. But yes, that would be a challenge, wouldn't it? The privacy. And like, it's a different thing when you're targeting her in the shop on a phone using Bluetooth. You could turn that off, but because they've said, your target, and she might not have even had a credit card. It might be a target, a family discount card or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, to know where you live.
Look, maybe there should be flags that can be turned off and on. So you turn the settings on your phone. You don't want to be GPS tracked or whatever. Back at Apple, you don't want nothing.
Yeah.
Like that going on. Oh, and simple settings. And then on your credit card, yes, no. Do you want shops to be able to track what you buy? Yes, no. And
So can people? That's one thing about Apple Pay, isn't it? The companies can't track me.
right, I didn't know that. Is that true?
As far as I know, because they don't know who bought what.
Right. So everything is totally
Like they don't know it's Michael Seamons on the card because it's just a token number that they get now, not using
right,
Apple Pay.
Right.
The only people that know are Apple.
Yeah. No,
Someone knows, but yeah.
They got
And the bank would probably know that I've been to Target. It must show up on there that I've been to Target. So
yeah, we'd get a statement
yeah,
from your credit card. So
Yeah.
then that come up Target, then the credit card people would know.
they would know. Yeah,
And that's where they're probably passing on from. That's probably their gravy train.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
all. Yeah.
so
It's like
anyway,
the ages, still for the modern ages.
so
Can't be rich.
yeah. So I haven't got any how-tos this week, realistically, but Netflix are to replace the star ratings with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So they announced last week that it will replace the star-based user reviews in its content library with the binary thumbs up or thumb down ratings over the coming weeks. So at one point, subscribers had awarded over 10 million 5-star ratings, and more than half of all the members had rated more than 50 titles. However, the company eventually concluded that the star ratings had become less relevant, with some users giving documentaries 5 stars and silly movies 3 stars, even though they will watch the silly movies more than the highly rated documentaries. So they might watch a documentary, say that was awesome, 5 stars.
I haven't got the story here, but
Yeah, and then watch Groundhog Day, give it 3 stars, but watch it 10 times.
I haven't got the story here. But I think wasn't Amy Schumer involved in complaining about that? Hang on,
Yeah.
Netflix. Let's see if I can find it. 'Cause I did read something about that. Amy Schumer blames alt-right. Oh, that's right. So we all know, you know what alt-right is? That's like the right wing of the US political.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Since its debut last, Amy Schumer's The Leather Special has been met with terrible reviews. So Netflix might be upset its large investment in the content. Schumer said her special was not a dud, claiming the rating system had been sabotaged by a well-coordinated online campaign from the alt-right. It doesn't matter. You either get 1 star or you get thumbs down. So it doesn't matter, does it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So,
Yeah. But anyway,
but I suppose the
Might be-
thumbs down's only 50%, isn't it?
it depends how many you get.
Yeah.
If you get like, yeah. Well, that's right, but you could get a lot of thumbs down.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, that's it. Thank you for coming in and filling in for Garth.
No worries.
He had a night off, so that was good.
Yeah, no worries. That's good. Good to be here. Good to see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how was the show last Thursday?
Yeah.
For Thursday's night is your night. Yeah, that's right.
That's right. We had Milo on the Aussie tickets.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, Jace Warlock, he was over in the US living it up, and with Leo. Went over and saw Leo Laporte over
Yeah.
there. Got a picture with him in the Twit House. There he was over there for a week or so on business, and going good. Went through our normal routine, some stories, and kicked back and had a laugh. It was good.
Excellent. So we'll have to all catch up with that on our Aussie Tech Radio.
Yes,
Or download it from YouTube or download it from iTunes.
that's right. Yeah,
So,
YouTube, iTunes, everywhere.
yeah. Awesome. Thanks, man.
No
Thanks
worries.
for coming on.
Cheers, everyone. We'll see you next
See you, Nick.
See you next
Bye.
production. That's great.
Cheers, man.
That's great.